Morning, kids. Saturday morning, overcast, cold. I'm coming to you today, not to make you laugh. Hopefully, make you think. And maybe have some compassion and empathy for somebody else. I met a homeless man one time. He lived with me twice. He told me one time, he said, as he left my house the first time, recovering from a suicide attempt, his third. 28 years old. He's been homeless since he was 15. As he's leaving the house, he gives me one of the greatest compliments, if not the greatest compliment I've ever been given. And he looked at me and this broken soul. And when I say broken, you have no idea. No idea. He said, "You know, Nathan, I've never met a Christian that was kind. Ever." He said they're the most judgmental and the most high and mighty and the most judgmental. The most judgmental. Can I say that one more time? The most judgmental. You see, that's what the world sees, because my friend was the representation of the world. And he brought that into my home, and I'm very happy. No, wrong word. I was very privileged to be that. That's safe home. He said, "But you are different." He said, "You seem to get what it is they're trying to tell us." And he looked at me and he said, You represent Jesus for me." Not his exact words, but that's how it sounded. Greatest compliment I was ever given. Ever. A few years later, he calls, and he had been in an altercation with his live-in boyfriend. And he had his arm shattered from here to here. He had no place to go. And so he came home. He healed on my couch. And we spoke many, many hours. And we smoked a lot of weed. But I would never change the life I had. And it was dark, people. For the knowledge that that one human gave me in almost two different sentences. One, a confirmation that I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. And that is be a representation of Jesus for the world. I'm not great at it, but somebody recognizes it. And to me, that's God working through them saying, "Hey, you know what? You're doing okay. Keep it up." The second time he lived with me, I asked him one day, I said, "Chase, What's the one thing I can give somebody who's homeless? Like, I need to know what it is that needs to come from me to make you feel good. In other words, I need to know what we as Christians need to do in the world to let them know really that Jesus is love and not judgment. God judges. Jesus doesn't even judge. God judges. Jesus is pure love. Pure love. He said, Nathan, we can get food. You may have to eat with the rats, but we get food. Money? Sure. How deep do you want your degradation to go? Because it costs. Souls don't go for cheap, people. He said, all we want is a smile. All we want is a smile to remind us that we're human. He said, it's not easy waking up if you wake up, if you sleep. He said, your eyes are never completely closed. A smile, people. A smile. To acknowledge them. It's not easy to live on the streets. Why did he live on the streets and at 15 and still at 28? 29 still living there? He tried to get off the streets many times. He was a successful hair colorist in New York City, Manhattan. But darkness follows you. And when you don't have Jesus, even when you have Jesus, the darkness is pretty powerful. You see, my friend started doing heroin at 14. His parents said, here's the BMW, here's the card, just leave us alone. And so a 13, 14-year-old boy took a Beamer and went from Frisco, if you know the areas, to South Dallas, to a known area for drugs. You see, he's 14. He has a wonderful car and unlimited money. Where do you think he went? To the street, where people left him. And so mommy and daddy took the card away and left him. You see, it's not always everybody's fault. This 15-year-old boy struggled when he didn't have to. It's not easy to have a homeless person in your home. They bring with them all the demons. But not only live inside of them, but follow them constantly in hopes of finding another host. He left just as he came. And I've seen him not since. I feel his presence a lot. And so I know he's still out there. Guys, it hurts to love. And by that I mean to love somebody who doesn't love you back is hard. To love somebody you watch fall is hard. But to know there are people out there who are turned away from Jesus by those of us who claim to love him and want nothing more than to watch others go to heaven with us. And I speak for myself. I don't really want them sitting beside me. Nor her. Oh, God. They show their face here. Did I just see you at the bar last night? Mind you, I was at the bar. That's how I saw them at the bar. And nobody speaks. Unspoken rule. Keep in the dark that which is in the dark. What is revealed to us in the dark, we are to bring to the light. No matter how ugly it is. We believe in the media that we're supposed to be beautiful. We're supposed to have the glasses and the hats. And all the accessories. The robe that costs more. than what some people make. I didn't pay for it. But the fact that I'm privileged enough to have it on. Privileged enough to know that I will always have a place to lay my head. But I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. If it wasn't for people around me, I would be homeless. And I know everybody's like, oh God, no, there's no possible way. You have no idea. Most of us are one paycheck away. We feel as though we have security. Because we have a job. Checks coming in. One paycheck, guys. One paycheck. Think about missing 2. And then 3. You lived everywhere you can possibly live. And one night you will realize that society is not always nice to those of us who are different. Those of us who are weird. Freaks. Queers. I'm very proud of who I am. Though, a lot of times I want to be gone. I'm going to be really honest here, guys. Since I was 12 years old, I've wanted to kill myself. For whatever reason. Mainly because I was a queer. And I thought I was going to hell anyhow. That's what I was always told. And it created within me this internal lie, this internal struggle. You see, I was taught to lie. And I know I'm kind of going off track here and there. This town is not a safe place for many people. Some of us worry every time we walk out of the house. Some of us wear loud clothes so everybody sees us. That way nobody can get us. You can only be called a faggot so many times before you begin to believe it. So now I've been called a little girl. And now a faggot. And so I began to lie that I'm normal. I go to church, I pray, I read the Bible. It tells me I'm going to hell. When you tell a person that they're nothing, but a sexual object, a pronoun, that's all you are. That's all you are. Queers were created to serve man in the way that a woman wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't. And young boys, well, they'll fit the bill. And faggots were created. It's not a choice that we make. It's in our DNA. I'm not saying it's black and white because it's not. But I want everyone to know that when you shovel shit on someone, eventually it stops smelling to that person. It has to, or you're going to live in hell. You see, you stay in shit too long, it stops smelling. Not my words. And sometimes the world is shitty. No. So when you sit on your high horse, in your pew, in your office, at your voting booth, as you pass the offering plate, as you snuggle up in 5 different covers. Guilty. Where you can walk over to the wall and do this or this, and you've controlled your entire environment, temperature-wise. We are privileged. And if you think you're not, oh, my friend, and you're lying to yourself. And the enemy has convinced you. That you're blessed and highly favored. And the way we measure that is how big our house is, how fast our car is, how expensive our watch was. I saw a watch sell for $150,000, and that's cheap. Do you know, in my lifetime, I'm 48. I've worked since I was 16. I've never made more than $24,000 a year. And you're asking yourself, well, why? Because you said I was told it was nothing. So why strive for anything, right? I mean, isn't that a measure of your faith as money? Obviously, I have no faith. You see, I'm worried about my soul going to heaven or hell. Well, I should be worried about somebody else's. Somebody who's never known Jesus. Somebody whose parents turned them out. When you walk past that homeless person, and by the way, we have them in Vernon, you make fun of them. How do I know? Because I listen and I hear it. You see, it was difficult for me to hold a job down. Because it was hard for me sometimes to live in reality. And so I would eventually pull away, miss days, until I just quit showing up. And every morning you get up and you know when you walk out that door. At 48 years old, 2023, I ended the year hearing it again. Faggot. Was it directed towards me? No. I hope not. But when you hear it from somebody that you thought loved you, it just reminds you that there's no place to escape. And so when you walk out the door, you've got to be fucking tough. You want to know why fags are pissy? Because we have to be. It's not easy. It's a different world now, I know. And we see this surge from the queer community. And as I say, they are taking no names and no numbers. You see, when the slaves, and let me tell you something, we are slaves. Passed around. You see, when people know that you're an easy target, and for some reason you are a sign now, like, move in. Because you see, deep inside all of this is ugliness. And so when you sit up there, wherever there may be, and you look down on somebody, and I've done it, first all you remember, they are a child of God. Enough said. Thank you for listening. I know this was long, all over the place. But that's pretty much my life. All over the place. I look not for sympathy or pity. I'm trying to solicit passion. I want to take the anger that I have and do my fucking hardest to give one person a smile. I can't change the world. I'm not Jesus. I'm not even Matthew, Mark. No, but I'm not, I'm just me. But because of a wonderful creature, just like you and me, said all I want is a smile. All I want is a smile. So today when you walk out your door and you gotta talk shit about somebody, and you have any love for me at all, you'll make one person smile. Just one person, okay? Stop worrying about fucking pronouns. Stop worrying about marrying people. Stop worrying that somebody's gonna get in your church and bring it down. Let me tell you something. If your church isn't strong enough, you probably need to close the doors. If you can handle one sinner, make one person smile. That's all I have for you. I cry most of the time for humanity. That's why I wear glasses a lot. Okay. But now I just look fabulous. Snap. Peace.